goes balls deep in that lab. Why didn't he pick him up? Him snitching, I don't know. Yeah, how did he get back to the... What? How does he escape in the... Barbara can't get a 12-year-old child that's in his dimension. There's only so many places that Will could go. They said he was good at hiding, but you can't be that good at hiding, my boy. You're hiding from a monster. You know, I was thinking to myself, right, what Flair meant to me. I never really had an answer because I really didn't know till today. Flair means... Good everyone, Big Flair back in with another video, you know what I mean? Another Dead Meat reaction video. But before we watch the video, leave a like and subscribe down below. Let's get right into it. Alright, so the Stranger Things, the season 1, because I already did like season 3, so I might as well do all the seasons. So this is season 1, part 1 of 2. I guess it was too much.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror media. I'm James A. Janice, and today, I'm trying something new. Never before has a full-fledged TV series been covered on the Kill Count, but today I give it a shot, because I'm looking at Stranger Things, Season 1, which premiered on Netflix in 2016. I don't know if there's a bigger series out there that I could have picked for my first TV show on the Kill Count. Sure, there are longer-running
I ain't gonna lie, Supernatural, man, probably top 10 shows of the 2000s, on God.
Horror shows, and shows that are more horrific, and even a few shows that are
Scream is dog shit.
Part of franchises whose movies I've covered on the Kill Count. And sure, Stranger Things isn't pure horror. It has elements of sci-fi, adventure, drama, comedy, all of the things. I'd say tone-wise, it's like a slightly more dangerous Amblin Entertainment film, but that's horror enough for me. After all, I covered Jurassic Park and Upgrade, right? What's special about Stranger Things is how
Boy got a Logitech 1985.
popular it is with people who might not normally be into horror. Just like the Amblin films from the 1980s, Stranger Things manages to be for everyone, which is why it's probably Netflix's most popular show. I have to say probably because Netflix doesn't share
Ozark, I would think like Ozark or like probably Squid Games now, but I thought like Ozark or like what's that Bank High show? Like I would think that was like top one, but you know.
stats like that. Show us the numbers, you cowards! Created by twin brothers, Matt and Ross Duffer, Stranger Things takes place in the same era that those Amblin films were made, the 1980s, with the first season set in 1983. It's a show without cynicism, with a story that feels like a cross between Stephen King and Spielberg with a dash of John Carpenter. A formula Netflix was so confident in, it bought the show less than 24 hours after the Duffers made their pitch. Stranger Things
Them boys were like, we got a hit!
Primarily follows four 12-year-old friends who could be ripped straight from a Stephen King novel. They curse, they bike around, they play D&D, and they don't let things like potential monsters stop them from doing what they have to do. That sense of adventure helps when one of them disappears and the others set out to find him, eventually with the help of a young girl they encounter who has some
ammonia, right?
serious telekinetic powers. But you already know all this. Pretty much everyone has seen this show, and its dominant popularity led to a whole host of awards, mazes at Halloween Horror Nights.
Did he ever do like a dead meat for like 13 Reasons Why? I guess it would be like only like one death, huh?
In 2018 and 2019, and continued renewal of further seasons, with the second released in 2017 and the third in 2019. Production for season 4 began in February 2020, but was shut down due to COVID. Hopefully, it'll eventually get made. By the way, if you're new here and you couldn't already tell, my kill counts aren't just kill counts. They also go into the plot and production info behind everything I cover, thus this video's length. Oh, and also, my hair and beard aren't normally this long. Quarantine, you know? And as far as this kill count goes, listen, these seasons are between
The dude got a comb over.
6 and 8 hours long. Obviously, way more than the average movie length. That's why I'm gonna break each season in half, so you'll have 2 videos for season 1 and 2 videos for season 2. I wanna cover season 3, but it's not out on Blu-ray yet. I can get the files from Netflix, but they're lower resolution.
Hold on, so Netflix, they put their shows on Blu-ray? I guess, like, to make the money, I guess.
Pollution and kind of looked like poop. So we'll see what I end up doing. I don't know. That's a problem for future James. Present James is gonna go through season 1 of Stranger Things and see just how many kills there are.
I'll say 10.
The series begins in Hawkins, Indiana, in November of 1983. This small Hoosier town is home to a big old federal laboratory, and boy is it blinky inside. Those strobing lights are only part of the reason this scientist is scared though. The other reason is what pulls him into the ceiling of this elevator and murders him off screen, establishing right away that Stranger Things is about to have some dangerous things. In the basement of a suburban home, 4 12-year-old friends, who are going to grow up way too fast, sit around a table playing Dungeons and Dragons. This is Mike Wheeler, played by a 12-year-old Finn.
Let me know if anyone has ever played Dungeons and Dragons, because I heard they're making a movie of this, and people was mad about it because it was basic or bland. Like, who plays? I've never seen or heard anyone that played Dungeons and Dragons. Usually it's like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Or like, you know, the anime shit. But I never seen anyone play that.
Wolfhard, Dustin Henderson, played by a 13-year-old Gaten Matarazzo, Lucas Sinclair, played by a 14-year-old Caleb McLaughlin, and Will Byers,
Future Miles Morales,
played by an 11-year-old Noah Schnapp, who also has a YouTube channel nowadays. Check it out. Also, since season 1 was filmed over 6 months, yes, Finn was 13 by the time they wrapped. Just try to come at me, mother fact checkers. This cast of kid actors is incredible and crucial to the show's success. The Duffers and casting director Carmen Cuba auditioned over 900 boys to fill the roles, and the ones they settled on ended up becoming real-life friends between casting and production. This scene, which was also the first one the Duffers wrote, was the first thing filmed for the show, and it was a relief for the filmmakers to see the boys having such natural chemistry. Mike is DMing for the others and has a pretty fearsome opponent lined up for them to fight.
The Demogorgon!
Before Will can resolve his turn though, the kids are kicked out by Mike's mom Karen. They ride off on their bikes as the show's synthy score already hooks the audience. I don't think it's controversial to say that Stranger Things' score is a huge reason it was such a hit. It was composed by Kyle Dixon and Michael Stein of the band Survive. The Duffers discovered them when 2 of Survive's songs were featured in the awesome 2014 movie The Guest. They created more than 13 hours of this electronic score, which is reminiscent.
Alright, 13 hours. Like, so what was that, like 30 songs of a score? Listen, man, these folk be working hard as hell, and I be feeling sad for them sometimes, cause like, what if this ain't work?
Reminiscent of John Carpenter's work. It's meant to feel both modern and nostalgic at the same time, much like the rest of the show. Lucas peels off for his home first, and after they pass Dustin's house, Will.
You know what's crazy? Like, these kids are like, this is really what happened back in the day. Kids were allowed to be out late at night, riding their bikes in some secluded ass neighborhood. That, man, anything can happen. Like, now kids calling Uber now.
Byers is left biking by himself, straight through that Scary Labs property. That means this poor bowl-cut bastard is about to get a Slender Man attack. Nah, that wasn't Slender Man, but it still fucked him up pretty good, huh? Will gets.
It's crazy because he lived farther. It seemed like he lived like a mile away from Mike and them. It's like, why did his mom or his brother why they didn't pick him up? Why they got his ass riding his bike through the fucking woods like Little Red Riding Hood? Like, what? I think I said that wrong, but you know.
It's home, but nobody's there. And since that misty mofo outside can unlock doors with his mind, Will runs to his shed to arm himself. Hardy little feller, if, you know, a little shaky. But it's too late for Will Byers. The creature.
What was he going to do with that little pellet gun? What was he going to do with that little, I don't know, man.
Rises up behind him, and after Will whimpers in fear, a light flickers and they disappear. Nice work, Stranger Things.
It's crazy because somehow it took him, but it didn't put him in the wall until the season finale. Didn't make no sense.
That was spooky. I think you've earned yourself a title card. But you only get 1 title card per season, okay? Don't expect me to title card each episode here. Stranger Things' iconic title card was inspired by old paperbacks, especially Stephen King's, and designed by the studio Imaginary Forces, who were rewarded for their work with an Emmy for Outstanding Main Title Design. The next morning, Will's mom Joyce finds her son missing from his room. Joyce is played by Winona Ryder, previously seen on The Kill Count and Alien Resurrection. She's upset that her older son
Alien Resurrection was like, what, 92?
Jonathan, played by Charlie Heaton, doesn't know if Will came home last night, but he was out working extra shifts to help his financially disadvantaged family. Joyce starts making phone
Hold on, they ain't on food stamps or something? Like, what's going on? Did they even have food stamps back in the 80s? I'm just playing. I think it was in the 70s or something.
calls on her yellow phone, already worried about Will, having no idea just how much worrying she has ahead. The other kids get to school and are picked on by bullies Troy and James. They especially
Whatever happened to the bullies? Because after season 1, like, they was all gone. Like, see, after season 1, it was like, f the bullies. We got monsters to deal with. they motherfuckers getting bullied by monsters now.
target Dustin since he has cleidocranial dysplasia, a birth defect that affects about 1 in a million people, including actor Gaten Matarazzo. It's a bone development thing, which is why Dustin is missing his front teeth and has some hypermobility in his shoulders. Mike's older sister Nancy Wheeler, played by Natalia
So what, he's single jointed?
Dyer, gets to Hawkins High and talks to her best friend and fan favorite character Barb Holland,
Fan favorite, y'all only had it for 1 season.
played by first-time actor Shannon Purser. Barb wants to know all about Nancy's recent fling with the school's cool guy, Steve the Hair Harrington. Though, real talk, to me, actor Joe Keery looks more like an improv comedian than some kind of cool jock. The police chief of Hawkins is this 6'3" mast of masculinity, Jim Hopper, played by occasional Hellboy David Harbour, who insisted his character almost always wear a hat, perhaps as a nod to Hopper's Indiana Jones-like swagger. Hop gets to work late, likely
Bro, these folk was smoking like 30 cigarettes a scene, man. Every scene, it was a cigarette on camera. And you know they was not smoking menthol. They was smoking straight tobacco. Listen, they was smoking straight Camel, man.
due to his drinking habits, and finds Joyce Byers waiting for him in his office.
See, a cigarette. Good God, a cigarette. Motherfucker was smoking cigarettes more than motherfucker drank water in this whole show.
She's worried about Will because Will ain't a cool guy like Hopper.
He's a sensitive kid.
But Hopper's not too concerned and says the kid is probably with his dad, Joyce's ex-husband Lonnie. Still, the chief's no slouch, so after typing up that Will is missing in a direct homage to Sheriff Brody typing Shark Attack in Jaws, he heads to the school to talk to Will's friends, interrupting them while they're hanging out with their science teacher Scott Clark and using his new CB radio.
Hello, this is Mike Wheeler, president of Hawkins Middle AV Club.
They tell Hopper that Will would have been heading home from Mike's last night using Mirkwood, a dirt road they've nicknamed after a forest in Lord of the Rings.
The Hobbit.
Shut
Yeah, shut up, Dustin! As Joyce and Jonathan look for Will at his homemade wood sport, Castle Byers, Hopper and his officers find Will's bike abandoned near Mirkwood, which is enough to finally worry the
And that's nothing. Ain't no one trying to steal that bike. The 80s. What a bike cost in the 80s? That's like $80.
chief.
Bike like this, like a Cadillac to these kids.
Mirkwood is close to Hawkins' lab, where experiments are conducted at the behest of Dr. Brenner in all his peroxided greatness. This
Good lord. It's like, it was so much CIA, man.
government scientist is played by Matthew Modine, but he's no joker when it comes to safety measures. That's cause he and these other guys have got to walk through the lab's basement, where potato flakes are floating everywhere, and stare at this nasty pulsing hole in the wall, which they say is the source of something bad. They also mention that they've misplaced a young girl, who's now walking through the woods in a hospital gown. She sneaks into the back door of a diner and is caught stealing fries by burly diner owner Benny Hammond, who's a captivating
I bet that burger was good as hell. That burger looked good as hell. It's always them backcountry restaurants that make the best burger and fries, man. Chicken fingers, steak, all that.
character right off the bat because of Chris Sullivan's gentle and empathetic performance. He sees a tattoo
He kind of like Big Show. He kind of like if Big Show was like 7-8 inches shorter and he knew how to cook. That looked just like Big Show.
on the girl's arm, and although I would have thought it said 110, he correctly reads it as 11, which turns out is her name.
11.
11 can move things with her mind, but it's a trick that Benny doesn't see since he's too busy calling social services for help. Unbeknownst to him, a whole team of people at Hawkins' lab are listening in on his phone call. And I don't think Hawkins has an Edward Snowden
Another cigarette. Listen, man, it's a lot of lung cancer on this TV show. A lot of lung cancer going on.
around to tell people what's up. 11 is played by then 11-year-old Millie Bobby Brown, a British actor who broke out in the
Listen, I even know she was British. How many British actors come to America, think they're American, and it's like I think British actors are like the best actors on earth, really.
2014 show Intruders, where she gave a performance that earned her praise from Stephen King. To be cast as 11, Brown beat out the over 300 other girls who auditioned for the
I've seen this. Listen, this is more to acting.
part. Although she and her parents were initially hesitant to shave her head for the role, the Duffers convinced her it'd be cool by showing her a picture of Charlize Theron from Mad Max Fury Road. Cause who wouldn't want to be a little Furiosa? Furiosita? Hopper brings Will's bike back to the Byers home and does some keen detective work until the clues lead him to the shed, and he does not like what he sees in there. Since the police are now concerned, Karen Wheeler bars both her older kids from leaving the house, which sets off a big ol' argument that
See this mom right here? W mom. She understands that a kid just got snatched, so the rest of her kids aren't allowed to go outside past 10 o'clock at night on a school night. Any other day, they'd be able to be out there all night long. But since Will got snatched up by the Demogorgon, nope. You gotta be home by 12:15.
Wheeler patriarch and human toad Ted doesn't do much to control.
Hey, what'd I do?
Nothing, Ted. That's the problem. Benny is letting 11 eat ice cream and listen to Jefferson Airplane when a woman claiming to be from social services shows up. But he just made that call. She must have driven there fast. Almost as fast as her draw. Oh my god, they killed Benny! You bastards! 11 runs away, stopping only to kill two dudes with her mind powers. Maybe by sending spoons into their heads? I don't know. For now, she's managed to once again evade Dr. Brenner. There's a happening Hawkins.
How come they don't have a tracker on her? Man, they had a tracker on Henry or some shit. So I don't understand how in season 1 they don't have no tracker on her. It makes no sense.
Search party for Will, during which we learn that Chief Hopper had a daughter named Sarah who died a few years back. Since Will's friends aren't allowed to help with grown-up search parties, they head out to Mirkwood to look for him on their own. It starts to rain, making their search for him more difficult, but in this wet mess, they come across 11, which is how episode 1 ends. They take her to Mike's basement and give her some warm clothes, and immediately learn that she's lacking some social skills.
No!
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
No,
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Lucas doesn't trust her, thinking she escaped a mental asylum or something, but
Smart, intelligent young brother. Yes. She is not all there.
Mike is willing to let her stay the night in his basement, inside a cozy little blanket fort. They properly introduce themselves to each other, and Mike comes up with the nickname L, beginning a relationship that the Duffers compared, at least initially here, to E.T. and Elliot. That comparison isn't as apt in later seasons. The next morning, Mike gives L some waffles, which is gonna be a whole day.
He pulled that shit out of his pocket though. That still ass waffle. He pulled that, man, no way. See, you gotta escape from a mental facility to think that that is a good breakfast. Someone pulling out an Eggo waffle out of their coat pocket, stale, no butter, no syrup, like nothing. And it was in the 80s, so you know it ain't taste that good. It tastes like cardboard. He gave her a cardboard waffle.
Damn thing with her, and she tells him that she's hiding from some bad men. Boom. Hopper comes to
How she know how to make that gesture? Hold on. I'm thinking way too much about this, man.
the Byers' house and tells Joyce they haven't found anything yet. She tells him about a phone call she got the night before and says she heard Will on the other end. You sure that was Will, Joyce? Sounded more like the electric gremlin to me.
No, it was him. It was Will.
Okay, if you say so, lady. Maybe just ask Dr. Brenner if it was Will. He's been listening to all your phone calls. At school, Steve Harrington and his douchey friends Tommy H. and Carol invite Nancy to a parentless party at his house that night. His clique talks shit about Jonathan as he puts up missing Byers flyers, but Nancy reaches out and expresses sympathy to him.
Cause she's a good she's a human being, number one. She's a human being. Number two, she's a good person. And number three, like who just gonna see a dude trying to help find his missing younger brother and be like, look at that freak. Like what? Who? Look at that loser right there. Who would say that?
Wonder if this was before or after actors Charlie Heaton and Natalia Dyer started dating in real life. Unlike his sister Nancy, Mike didn't go to school today. He doubled back on his bicycle so he could show 11.
Yeah, because he got to play with his new friend that he gives dry, stale Eggo waffles out of his coat pocket. He got to go play with his new friend. Like, bro, like he don't have time to play with Dustin and Lucas, all right? His old friends, all right? You got to play with the new friends now.
In his house, including his prized CRT.
It's a 22-inch. That's like 10 times bigger than Dustin's.
Dustin, dude, why you got a 2-inch TV? Although Eleven's not into Yoda, she does take an interest in a picture of Mike and his friends, pointing out Will and indicating that he's familiar in a scene intentionally shot like one in the 1985 film Witness, when a young Lucas Haas identifies Danny Glover in a picture. Having skipped out on school after putting up those flyers, Jonathan thinks back to—
And that's another thing. Everyone skipping school. Everyone skipping curfew. Like, everyone just leaving home like at 9, 10 o'clock at night. Everyone not going to school. I don't know how these folks finna graduate.
a time he hung out with Will and got him hooked on The Clash.
Should I stay or should I go?
He also gave Will a bunch of other cool bands to check out.
Joy Division, Bowie, Television, The Smiths.
And between that taste in music and that Evil Dead poster on the wall, high school James would have probably hung out with Jonathan Byers. Increasing his coolness is that he's such a
Why they got their shirts tucked in? Like, when do people stop tucking in their shirts like that?
good older brother, comforting Will when their dad disappointed him by skipping out on a playdate. It's their dad, Lonnie, that Jonathan goes to see now, all the way in Indianapolis. Lonnie's played by Ross Partridge, who had a small role in the Lost World Jurassic Park as an annoying guy who recognized Ian Malcolm on the subway. He and Jonathan don't have a good relationship, especially because Lonnie's always talking shit about Will and Joyce, so after making sure that Will isn't hiding anywhere there, Jonathan leaves his dad with one of those homemade flyers. Joyce heads to downtown Hawkins,
She just broke a law. She just broke a traffic law.
played by the town square of Jackson, Georgia, and stops by her work to pick up a pay advance and a new telephone, since hers got a bit too toasty. While she's out, Brenner and a bunch of scientists from Hawkins Lab show up.
Man, these government agents was governing it up, man. They was being little sneaky buggers. They was in everyone's business, going behind the scenes, putting in bugs in people's houses. These were some sneaky dudes, man. To all that to die and not get the child. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's insane how they failed. They did all this to fail.
Up at her house, and they walk around pointing their science doodads all over the property. In the shed, they find something that really sets the readers off. But the invasive investigators are gone by time Joyce gets back and plugs her new phone in, hoping she'll get another call from her electrically transmitted son. After school, Dustin and Lucas go to Mike's house, where he tells them that 11 pointed out Will, and that maybe the bad men who are after her have taken him. This potential lead gets Mike so excited he starts singing Electric Six.
Danger! Danger!
High voltage! But Lucas doesn't buy it and just wants to go tell Mike's mom about 11. She stops him with her mind power.
See, I ain't like this. I ain't like they made Lucas a snitch. All right, I understand where he's coming from, and I actually agree with him. Some shit has to go down because like we can't just keep this kid here, this random child here. Is kind of wild, like, but him snitching, I don't know.
A bloody nose and a single word.
No.
The police are searching for Will near Sattler Quarry, played by Atlanta's Bellwood Quarry, which was also used in The Walking Dead, when they get the call to go to Benny's Diner. They find him dead, with the scene made up to look like a suicide, but Hopper is immediately skeptical of his friend having killed himself. That's why he talks to one of Benny's pals, who mentions that he saw a kid with a shaved head
I think that was what, 4 cigarettes?
in Benny's Diner the previous evening. Hopper hopes it might be Will. Hopper leads another search party, this time out by Benny's Diner, and thanks to the wonderful man that is science teacher Scott Clark, they find a shred of fabric on the
How he find out? How he find out? That's literally finding a needle in the haystack. How did he find that? What the man?
inside of a drain pipe. Surmising that Will may have crawled through it, Hopper follows the pipe until he finds where it originates, Hawkins Lab, sitting behind a fence. Impressed by 11's mind powers, Mike, Dustin,
I ain't gonna lie. It's like who really ran the town Hawkins? Was it the governor? I mean the mayor, or was it Hawkins? Hawkins Lab just basically owned the whole town of Hawkins.
And Lucas bring her some of their dinner and teach her the meaning of friendship, like literally.
A friend
Is someone that you do anything for.
And friends always keep promises, which was also one of Eleven's vocals.
That's not true. They was lying the whole season. They was lying. They kept lying.
Cab words that day.
It means something that you can't break.
She'll be ready for the SATs in no time. She uses their D&D figures to give the boys a little presentation. With Will represented by a mage, she flips their game board over and says that Will is hiding in the Upside Down, hiding from the Demogorgon. Shit! Nancy gets Barb to join her for the party at Steve's, promising that it won't just be Steve trying to get into her pants, since Tommy H and Carol will be there too.
Tommy and Carol have been having sex since like 7th grade. It'll probably just be like a big orgy.
Come on, Barb. Does this look like the kind of guy who would host?
Steve is kind of like an L host, cause like why he ain't bring like someone for Barb? L host, man, L host.
An orgy?
Hello, ladies.
Actually, don't answer that. Jonathan gets back from Indianapolis and goes to Mirkwood.
He was a weirdo for this. He was a giant weirdo for this. Now, what he did, it actually helped them solve the case, but he was a weirdo, man. Shaggy here, weirdo.
To take pictures, hoping to find clues as to where Will might be. He hears a nearby scream and runs towards the source, but it just ends up being the party at the Harrington house. Steve gets Nancy to shotgun a beer, and when she gets Barb to try it too, her friend instead slices open her hand.
That's not how that works.
While Barb's bandaging her hand, Steve and his friends start a game of splashy grab ass, all while Modern English plays, and Jonathan very creepily takes pictures. You're being weird, dude. Joyce finally gets another phone call, and this one actually sounds like Will. But it still gives her a shock and fries the phone all the same. No! She pulls herself.
Great acting, because in real life, this is exactly what would be the situation. Going fucking crazy. She basically talked to a ghost.
Together when she realizes the lights are flickering unnaturally. And here's the Clash clashing from Will's room. She determines that this must be Will trying to communicate with her, but is then scared out of her house by something trying to Freddy.
Now, how did Will escape the room and escape the Demogorgon? How did he do that? How did he do that? How did he do that? How did Will escape the room, escape the Demogorgon? Did he climb out the window? Like, how did he do that? He's 12 years old. How was he escaping a whole demon?
Kruger its way through the wall. She's just about to flee the place entirely when she hears Mick Jones singing from Will's room again, being unwilling to abandon.
Yeah, how did he get back to the... What? How does he escape in the... How is he escaping the Demogorgon? The whole season he was escaping the Demogorgon. Then the season finale, he just gets snatched up. He lost? What?
And her son, Joyce, heads back inside. Done with their splash around times, the couples at Steve's house pair off to mess around. Barb tries to stop Nancy, but gets sent home instead, leaving Nancy...
Yeah, Barb was a real party pooper, man. She should just left.
Free to go into Steve's room and change right in front of him, and in front of the window, which allows Jonathan to snap a pic. Not alright, guy! While they suck face, Jonathan turns his attention towards Barb and snaps one.
So he's just a total 100% weirdo. He just taking pictures of everybody. He's being a little snooper.
Last picture on his roll of film. He's busy reloading the camera when Barb bleeds.
It seemed like he reloading a gun. Like, what is that? What's going on?
A bit into the pool, and that appears to summon the Demogorgon. Its attack.
So everyone who spilled blood in Hawkins was, I guess, susceptible to getting snatched up by the Demogorgon. Okay.
Causes her to disappear, just like Will did, and Jonathan never sees it happen. Barb wakes up in the Upside Down, that slimy desaturated dimension where the air has a bad case of dandruff. She sees the Demogorgon in the pool with her, and though she tries to climb out, she's unable to escape it. Barb is yanked back into the pool.
She moving too slow. Cause on God, I will be skipping steps, I will be rolling, ninja crawling, I'll be like Naruto, man. I will be doing the ninja jump. Not gonna lie, I'm not getting caught in the pool by a monster.
Pool and killed by the monster. And though it won't be confirmed to the other characters for quite some time, this is in fact when it
season finale
happens. Nancy is completely oblivious to her friend's demise though, since she was too busy making out with Steve. And also, you know, because Barb was in another dimension. Another dimension. Another dimension. After Nancy and Steve bang, she leaves without a romantic goodbye and gets home to find her mother Karen waiting for her.
at 3 o'clock in the morning.
I love Karen Wheeler, partly because Cara Buono also played Faye Miller, who was way too good for Don Draper shit, but also because Karen just really wants to connect to her kids.
You can talk to me. Whatever happened.
Unfortunately,
They're not trying to talk. They got monsters to fight.
Nancy's not in the mood right now. Jonathan also doesn't want to listen to his mom because she's telling him that Will has been talking to her through the
Yeah, she got all the lights in the room. Just goddamn, every other room is dark as shit. What's going on?
lights. Yeah, hard sell that theory. Nancy goes to school the next day, self-conscious about having lost her virginity, but Steve promises her that he didn't tell anyone about it. He reassures her with a kiss, and everything's good for her again, until she realizes that Barb hasn't shown up for school yet that day.
She ain't showing up. She's another kid that ain't showing up to class. Don't none of these kids go to class, man. Don't none of these kids go to school. Listen, they might as well not be homeschooled. They might as well graduate from Stranger Things University, because this right here, in season all the seasons, ain't no one going to school. After the portal open, ain't no one going to class. It's over with.
Eleven also doesn't go to school that day. Pretty sure she missed the enrollment deadline. So
did she ever go to school? Let's be honest. Before season 4, she never went to school.
Instead, she wanders around Mike's house and plays with his Millennium Falcon. She channel surfs the TV past a bunch of 80s programming until she sees a Coca-Cola commercial that reminds her of a time she was undergoing some studies at Hawkins' lab under Dr. Brenner, who she calls her papa. Even though using her powers gives her a bloody nose every time, her papa wanted to weaponize them and have 11 test them out against the poor.
Season 4, we know why he was doing that, but season 1, they was gonna keep her as a lab rat until like she got too powerful, and then they was gonna put a chip in her like how they did Henry. That's what it was.
Or kitty cat. Elle refused to kill the animal, but revealed that her powers are indeed
that man got mad as hell. She ain't turned the mic. I'm tripping.
Lethal when she killed 2 more G-men watching over her.
Alright, so they died. Alright, so these men died. Alright, I know one got their neck snapped, but the other one died?
At least, I think she kills the first dude, like from a broken...
I don't know. Let's be honest, it's the 80s, alright? That brick wall is made out of paper towel. Let's be honest, that wall right there is made out of plastic paper. Now, the other dude got his neck snapped, he might be dead. Or he might even have a broken neck. But it is the 80s, so if you get your neck snapped in the 80s, you dead. But getting thrown against the wall like that, I don't know. He might still be alive. He might be in a coma. He might be in like a drug-induced coma. I don't know.
Broken back? The second dude dead for sure, though. That's a classic movie neck snap there. What you think about this little murder machine, Brenner?
Now, why she ain't continue and kill him? And why is she like in a Louis Vuitton suitcase room? What is this? Is this leather? It's like alligator skin.
Incredible.
Well, I'm glad you like her. Hopper and Officers Callahan and Powell go to Hawkins' lab, where Jim looks at their sewer entrance and notices they have security cameras all around. They walk past the lab's science-y stuff, supposedly keeping them ahead of the Ruskies, and review the security cam tape from the night Will went missing. There's nothing there, but Hopper notices a weather discrepancy that makes him suspicious.
What are you thinking? I don't know. But they're lying.
He and Officer Powell go to the Hawkins library, where they look through newspapers on microfilm until they find out that Dr. Brenner was sued.
I thank God I was born at the age I was born to where I could just look that shit up on Google. Like, why would I go to the library and look at a telescope?
By a woman named Terry Ives for kidnapping her daughter after they were both involved in MK Ultra, a real-life study from the 50s and 60s wherein the CIA experimented with mind control using drugs like LSD. Fun fact here on the subject of acid, one of its biggest proponents in the 60s was Dr. Timothy Leary, and turns out he was Winona Ryder's godfather. Speaking of Ms. Ryder, Joyce has decided to decorate for Christmas a little early. She strings lights up all over inside her home, hoping they'll help Will communicate with her somehow. If they
I'm glad. How does she pay the light bill?
They do, it'll be worth the weird looks she gets from Karen
She looked drugged out.
Wheeler when the fellow mom comes to visit. While they're chatting in the kitchen, we get a kind of poltergeisty moment when Mike's baby sister Holly follows a light bright path into Will's bedroom. There, she gets a little lamp concert as a warm-up act for the main attraction, a monster pushing out from the wall. Joyce gets upset that Holly was in Will's room.
No one saw that though? No one heard or saw that monster? And then why did the monster just retract? Like, I don't understand why. Because they came into the room that he just gonna retract? Like, why?
And brusquely asks the Wheelers to leave. Well, don't say we never tried to be friendly, Joyce.
She just used them too for the casserole. I don't think she gave back the casserole.
At school, Jonathan develops his pictures in the darkroom where they're noticed by a student named Nicole. That ginger's a snitch and tells Steve what
W snitch though, because he's on some weird shit, right? If you didn't know what was going on, that's a weirdo. I ain't gonna lie. No, it might be a stretch, but that's a weird kid, man.
she saw. So after school, the Harrington gang confiscates Jonathan's backpack and finds his creepy peeping Tom pics.
I was looking for my brother. No, this is called stalking.
They showed Nancy
That's some big ass Polaroids though. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't know they made Polaroids that big.
see the most damning picture of his and then break Jonathan's camera before leaving to go check out the big football game. Nancy stays behind a beat and sees the picture Jonathan
Because again, she's a good person. She's a person, but even better, she's a good person. That's how it goes.
took of Barb. So she blows off Steve to go look around his house for any sign of her missing friend. She doesn't find Barb, but she does get scared by a gray figure that runs by. So she returns home.
How come the great figure didn't get her? See, that's what I'm talking about. The motherfucker Demogorgon was a horrible ass monster, man. He couldn't get Will in the Upside Down, even though Will was in the Upside Down for at least 3 days. Couldn't get Nancy, but somehow just got Barbara. L monster, man.
Home and finally opens up to her mom.
Oh, why? Cause her friend got kidnapped because she got smashed at Steve's house.
Happened. Something terrible.
Joyce gets some more blinky signals at home and talks to a tangle of white Christmas lights like they're some kind of 20th century burning bush. The lights communicate to her that it's Will and that he's not safe. So in an effort to get some more specific communication going on, she paints the alphabet
She is lowering her property value.
on her wall with a light over each letter. Using this clever method, Will tells his mom that he's right here, but that she needs to RU and run, because they're a monster in the walls. Hopper and Powell get a call from the station that sends them speeding away. Their lights are seen by the kids, who are trying to use Eleven's powers to find Will, but they're dismayed when she only leads them back to Will's house.
I swear if we walked all the way out here for nothing.
That's exactly what we did. I told you she didn't know what the hell she was talking about.
They decide to bike after the police lights to see what's going on, and that takes them to Sattler Quarry, where a bunch of emergency vehicles have already gathered.
Oh God, please tell me it's not the kid.
I got bad news for you, Hop, because they're pulling out a body right now, and that body looks like Will. Mike and the others watch this tragedy
How they know what Will was wearing? Because that's what he was wearing when he got took to the Upside Down. So how did they know that?
unfold in front of their eyes, and he gets mad at Eleven for failing to help them save their friend.
What is wrong with you?
He flees on his bike as the soundtrack is filled by Peter Gabriel's cover of David Bowie's Heroes. That needle drop was picked out by executive producer Sean Levy, who directed chapters 3 and 4, the only episodes not directed by the Duffers. While the Duffers had previously written for Wayward Pines and made the 2015 film Hidden, Stranger Things was their first undertaking of this much larger scale. Therefore, it was immensely helpful to have Sean Levy involved, since he directed and produced such big-budget films as Real Steel and the Night at the Museum trilogy. His direct
Oh, he was killing it. Oh, he's a blockbuster genius. Dang, listen. Night at the Museum was good movies, man. I ain't gonna let no one say otherwise.
of the end of episode 3 is one of the most emotional moments of the series, as Mike gets home and embraces his mom, at the same time Joyce, fleeing her house, runs into Jonathan and hugs him as sirens blare in the distance. The cops go to the buyer's house and tell Joyce that they found Will's body, but she doesn't believe her son to be dead.
Whoever you found is not my boy. It's not Will.
Obviously, the police and Jonathan don't buy her story of electrocommunication, and Hopper thinks it's just
She plays a good crazy lady. She plays She is great at playing an insane lady.
Trauma similar to what he experienced in the wake of his daughter's death. But Joyce isn't assuaged, so she retrieves an axe from the shed and stares down the wall across from her. She
All night long.
falls asleep on the couch and wakes up to Will. Nah, he's still gone. She wakes up to Jonathan, telling her that they need to go to the morgue. Hopper's already there, and he learns that Hawkins's usual coroner had been sent home last night by people from the state government, who are also the ones that performed Will's autopsy. Joyce and Jonathan are shown Will's body, but in this case, seeing is not believing.
That is
Oh, that's Levi right there. I'm Levy, whatever.
not my son.
Mike's still mad at Eleven for not preventing Will's death, but she shows him his anger is misplaced by tuning his radio into WILL. Though he's able to receive Will's signal, Mike's unable to reach him over the walkie, so he
I'm glad that is a better, man. Them little walkie-talkies they had is better than any phone that Nokia or any phone that Nokia made, or Virgin Mobile, any phone that any of those companies made. That walkie-talkie is better than all. They should really bring walkie-talkies back, man.
Videos for Lucas and Dustin to come over and help him figure something out. Though Lucas still believes that the body they saw was Will's, Dustin thinks they may be able to contact Will if they use Mr. Clark's radio at school, which will have a much stronger signal. That means they'll have to go to school though, and that means Eleven is gonna have to look a little less conspicuous. Sounds to me like we need a science guinea pig makeover.
Now, how did this boy know how to do makeup? How did this boy know how to do makeup? How did he know what he was doing?
Wow. She looks pretty.
Yeah, with that 1955 Hansel and Gretel dress on. Yeah, I understand.
Good. You look pretty good.
Yeah, that wig looks more than pretty good there. As my cosplay experienced fiance has pointed out, that is a very expensive lace front wig that would not have just been lying around like that. At Hawkins' lab, a bunch of G-men in hazmat suits, led by Dr. Brenner, engage in some sticky science. And one dude, a guy named Shepard, slips straight on through an embryo-looking thing pulsating behind that nasty shit on the walls. Gross. They communicate with Shepard through the radio for a while until he starts yelling that something else is in there with him, and an alarm goes off. By the time they pull Shepard's line out, he's nothing more than some.
So the Demogorgon got Shepard, the Demogorgon got Barbara. Can't get a 12-year-old child that's in his dimension. There's only so many places that Will could go. They said he was good at hiding, but you can't be that damn good at hiding, my boy. You're hiding from a monster.
Blood on a plate and a number on the kill count. At school, Nancy gets mad at Steve because he's more concerned about getting in trouble than he is about what happened to Barb. She
Yes, like a 16-year-old boy would.
talks to officers Powell and Callahan and tells them about how she went to Steve's looking for Barb and saw some kind of creature instead.
I think maybe it took Barb.
She's only further convinced later when she puts together one of Jonathan's creeper pics and sees something suspicious on the side of the frame. Nancy takes the photograph to Jonathan, who's at the funeral
How'd she know he was at the funeral home? Oh, that's right, because she asked the mom.
home making arrangements for Will. Although he didn't see anything the night Barb disappeared, when Nancy tells him about the creature she saw, he recognizes its description as the same monster his mom's been saying is in their walls. They go to the dark room so Jonathan can brighten and enlarge the photo, and while he does, the two of them bond a bit, with Jonathan apologizing for taking her picture in Steve's window. The newly enhanced photo reveals the figure that Nancy saw at Steve's house, and with
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? No, that's not him. That's not him.
proof of this monster in their hands, Jonathan finally stops thinking his mom is crazy. They also get their hopes up that Will and Barb—
That's usually what happens in shows. Like, you think the person's crazy, so crazy shit happens, and then the person ain't crazy no more. That's usually what happens. That's usually what goes down.
are still alive. I have half good news for you. Mike and the gang bike back to school and run—
They are late to school. These kids are, my goodness, bro. No one care. No one care. The kids are late to school. They are riding up Main Street in Jackson, Georgia. Bro.
into Mr. Clark, who they introduce to Eleven, saying that she's Mike's Swedish second cousin named Eleanor. Mr. Clark leads them to the gym for an assembly honoring Will, where Mike notices that douchebag Troy making jokes about his supposedly dead friend. After the assembly's over, Mike confronts the bully and pushes him down. And before Troy can retaliate, he's frozen in place and, wait a minute, Troy, are you? Yeah, dude!
You're pissing your pants! You're pissing your pants!
Oh, right in front of everybody?
Dude, Troy peed himself.
And since it'll be
And somehow he was still, he probably moved. That's probably why he wasn't in season 2. He probably moved to a different town.
another 10 years before pee in your pants is the coolest, Eleven has successfully ruined Troy's social standing. The kids go to the AV room and have Eleven hop on Mr. Clark's radio. As she tries to find Will's signal, she thinks back to another time at Hawkins' lab when her papa tried to get her to use her powers to spy on a foreign government official just by looking at his picture.
I want you to listen to what he says and repeat his words back to me.
She looks into her mind and sees him, then relays the man's words over the PA system. Quite a useful trick to have in the middle of a Cold War. Back in the present, she similarly brings Will's voice through the radio. And his friends hear him calling out for his mom. Joyce hears it too, coming from inside her wall. So she tears apart the wallpaper to reveal a fleshy, translucent barrier, behind which she finally sees her son. He tells
Now how come she can't grab him and pull him through that portal, but we saw Shepard just walk through the portal like it was nothing?
her he's in a place that's like home, only it's dark and empty and cold. And she promises to save him before he has to run off and hide from the Demogorgon coming to Demogorgon.
I ain't gonna lie, he look like he inside of a Pokeball. He look like Pikachu inside of a Pokeball.
Get him. The trans-dimensional transmission ends with a fire in the AV room that Dustin puts out with an extinguisher, but with her beliefs finally vindicated, Joyce feels confident.
She should have took a picture. I don't understand what's going on. Take pictures. Start recording these events. I would tell Will, hey, stay there. Now say cheese.
Enough to start hacking away at her wall with an axe. Unfortunately, her effort.
Now, how did she pay for this? I guess the government paid her for the damages and stuff. But it's like, how did she pay for this? Like, she just ruined her wall. Don't you have to like to rebuild the whole wall to fix this? I don't know how that worked in the 80s.
Don't get her anything other than a new window. At a bar, Hopper talks to the guy who found Will's body in the quarry. When he catches him in a lie about how he made the discovery, the dude shuts down and tries to leave.
The kid is dead. End of story.
But the only thing Hopper's dropping right now is this booze down his throat, and through some physical.
Now, I don't understand why. It was cool, but it's like, why did he start going vigilante? Why he ain't just start bringing in people for interrogation? Like, he went to the bar, beat this dude ass.
Physical intimidation, he learns that the guy was told to call Will's body in and not ask any questions. Told by whom? Well, probably the people watching Hopper from that car over there. Oh, they're gone. Hopper goes to the morgue and interrupts this one cop's reading of Cujo to knock him out and gain entry.
See, and that's another thing. He was just knocking motherfuckers out left and right. Like, he might as well have just been a boxer. I don't know about the sheriff job. He should have been a boxer, because, like, he was beating people up left. Like, he did not lose a fight at all.
To the body freezers. He pulls out Will's body, and after some natural hesitation.
And it's crazy, like, how did they make this in the, well, it's the 80s, right? But, like, how did they come up with the body so fast? Like, how did they make a mannequin like this so fast? It's almost like they already knew it was going to happen before it happened.
Patient inspects it. It's not cold, it's not clammy, and most damning of all, that thing's full of stuffing, like a gotten.
He just killed him again. But yeah, they couldn't find and capture 11. It's insane.
Damn Thanksgiving turkey. The body they pulled out of the quarry was a fake all along, which is why I didn't add anything to the kill.
Now, what if that body was real? Let's be honest. Now, what if that body was real? He was going to jail.
This fake corpse was built by Justin Raleigh and his company Fractured FX, which won an Emmy for their work on American Horror Story Freak Show, and which also made prosthetic bodies for Steven Soderbergh's series, The Nick. Fractured FX's fake bodies are so convincing, in fact, that Boston Children's Hospital partnered with them to create training bodies for their surgeons to practice on. But Hopper's too incensed about this conspiracy to appreciate awesome prosthetic work. He heads back to Hawkins' lab and
he goes straight to the lab. And he goes deep in that, he goes balls deep in that lab. It's like, man, he might as well just become like the president of Indiana, because this right here, not even Will Smith could do.
And bolt cutters his way through the fence. And that's where episode 4 of Stranger Things season 1 ends. The next 4 episodes will finish out the season, but I'll have to look at those next week because this is a lot of material to get through. You'll get the numbers and rewards at the end of part 2. But until then, I'm James.
No, you son of a no. I gotta wait to see. I gotta wait till the next episode. He ain't count the. This has been the Kill Count. Alright, this has been Flair watching the Kill Count. If you like the video, like, comment, subscribe down below. See you guys, I guess, part 2. Peace. Stay there. Now say cheese.